Alright guys, I'm here back with more NieR Replicant is the next day. It's been a little bit. Well, it's been a full day. I did not record last night like I thought I was going to, but we'll talk about that. What are we doing right now? What are we doing? I don't remember anymore. I remember we went to the Eyrie, right? I don't remember exactly what we did, what happened after that. But anyway, NieR's picking up here. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, it's relatively early. I mean, in terms of it's back here. In terms of where I would start recording. Oh, we're trying to fish, aren't we? Oh, this is the fucking fishing section. This is like a funny thing, at least in the original release in NieR, where like that was like a notable thing about NieR is that they got
Hey there.
Oh.
Want to let a girl buy you a drink?
I'm not old enough to drink, Devila. Also, isn't it morning?
When the sun never sets.
Yeah, there was this guy, there's this critic that gave NieR a terrible review because like he couldn't get past the fishing section.
I do love this tavern though. It's the nerve center.
Which obviously at this point, like it's not even like 3 hours into the game.
Here to relax, or swap stories, or even look for work. Come back whenever you have a free minute.
But again, like, where the fuck am I supposed to be going now? So, oh, it does let me. Oh, maybe not. Oh.
Are you alright, lad?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You have lost health. You must be more careful.
Wait, what? Wait, it's telling me to go somewhere else, though. Wait, I'm so confused. Go to the shop for the wait, what? It changed objectives for some reason. Whatever. Yeah, so I did not end up recording last night because I mentioned this before so last night I did work. After work, some co-workers had a party, so I was like,
what do you know about
I mean, it's not too far away, I might as well just go.
It's full of old scrap and other weird stuff.
So I decided to go, and then stayed there pretty much until like 2 o'clock in the morning. At that point, I got home, and I had a headache by that point too. So I was like, I'm not gonna fucking record. So yeah.
If they were so smart, why did we
I'll
end up
see
like this?
next morning now. Wait, is on top? Okay, wait, what am I doing? I don't know. Yes, that's why I didn't record last night. Oh, do I have too many? I wasn't really feeling too. Fuck. Okay, it's not even worth it. I wasn't feeling too great by the end of the night, so I probably would have tried to record at least one episode if I wasn't feeling complete shit. But yeah, better now. I got up relatively early, like 8:30, which is early for me. And where am I going? I must have went the wrong way, right? Or maybe not. Maybe it is this way. Yeah, so that was last night. And
Jacob, I'm hungry.
I know, hold on. Maybe we have some old bread here.
Hey there.
Oh, welcome. Please, come in.
What is this place?
It's my shop. I'm the finest smith in these parts. See, my brother and I build items from scrap we find in the junk heap, but we're a little low on supplies at the moment.
yeah, so that's that. This might be the last time I record until tomorrow night. Record this because tonight I will be streaming Mass Effect once again.
The junk heap, you say?
That's right.
And then I do have stuff going on tomorrow morning.
Say it used to be a military base.
So I
don't know
probably
about
just
that,
won't even
but
bother
there's lots of good
recording.
stuff
I
in
probably
there.
could if I really wanted to, but I probably just won't.
It's not exactly the safest place in the world, but we gotta eat, you know?
And then
So it's just the two of
to
you
be honest,
out there?
I'll record probably tomorrow night, maybe. But even then, there's Super Mario South Africa and Big Brother, and then
Our father died when Gideon
to
was
be fair, I
20.
probably won't watch Big Brother tomorrow night anyway.
Is
But still, and then Friday we have
she's out
possible
right now.
Star Wars
Getting
mid-season
supplies,
power
but I'm
rankings.
sure
So
she'll be.
I'm not gonna have that much time to play
He's been gone
NieR
for 7 days.
in the next few days.
When's
So
she
like
coming
really
back?
now I'll see is Wednesday morning, Thursday night, and then yeah, I probably won't be again until Friday night after that. So again, not
7 days?
that much time
That's
here.
a long time.
It's getting harder to find good scrap. She probably had to go deeper into the heap.
Something I should do is I'm really far behind on RHP right now. I'm only like 45 minutes into the round table from last night from Big Brother, which I still have 2.5 hours
So
left,
if
so
you
we'll
had the
probably listen to
materials,
that in a
would you be
bit.
able to
And then
upgrade
obviously
our
live feed
weapons?
updates today too, so it's like I need to catch up on that.
Well, yeah, but it's really dangerous in there right now, so we.
No problem. We'll go.
Or should I just do live feed update as it's live? I mean, maybe I'll just do that, which is in a few minutes. So.
I want to upgrade my weapon. And besides, you need inventory for your shop, right?
My what video is that? Brains vs. Brawn.
Well,
Cast
yes,
assessment
but
comes up pretty soon,
It's settled then. What do you need?
which we'll see how it does. I'm not really like expecting that much, really.
well, to improve your weapon, I'll need 3 titanium alloys.
You know, I should have just eliminated. Like, I'm looking at the thumbnail is always disturbing that I made for it. I don't particularly like it. I feel like I should have just eliminated the fire on the eye, and that probably would have been for the better.
Robots around the mountain.
Got it.
Here's a map of the complex. You're probably gonna need it.
Oh well, at this point I don't really care.
And be
Like I'm not gonna
careful,
bother.
please.
But
It's gotten really
in
scary in
retrospect,
there.
that's probably what I should have done. It just looks fucking weird. Actually, but then again, like, either way, I wouldn't be able. Yeah, either way, it would have looked weird. Just like it's not really. Because like the word Australian's too long. The Survivor logo's already expanded as much as I can. Like there's not much I could have really done, I guess. Anyway, I just realized my BBU video passed my challenge video. I didn't even realize that happened. Let's see. Yeah, my last post video is almost at 1,000 views too, which I'm pretty happy with that. But anyway, alright, let's go and
He's not really going to gain any real traction.
listen
from
to this until
People
the
are not
live feed update
particularly
starts.
Grateful in the game of Big Brother. Second,
What are we doing?
the island is not a
3
particularly
titanium
loyal ally, as
alloys.
we have already discussed, and we'll discuss even further. And then, third is Travis is actually an ally that would work with him. And really, if anything, I think the house would respect Derek even more if he did a move on his own, if that makes sense, that people would then come to him because he actually would have wielded power on his own in the game, and they would have seen him as an active player that they didn't want to have against them, instead of a very weak player that they could easily throw on the block or target without getting any blood on their hands. So that's my view, at least, on this one, but that's how Derek sees it, and that's how he's going to do it. He wants to use the veto on Kyland, and that's great, because that's what Frenchie wants, that's what Brent wants. Everything's all gonna be nice and
store
great,
stuff?
except...
Or is it just a pan? Oh, it's just a pan for some fucking... Well, I mean, obviously I know why, but...
Frenchie changes his mind again. He's been thinking about it, and Kyland is still lying to him about targeting him. And that
Looks
whole
like the
alliance
ancient
thing, and I can't
machinery
believe
is
he
still
hasn't come
working.
clean yet. And do you see
Not that we have
how
any
many
idea
women
how
he
it
has been
works.
seen with in this
Ruins
house?
from
He is way too
ancient
popular.
times,
This guy
patrolled for
needs to
eons
go.
by
So he
unstoppable
tries
machines.
convincing Tarek to use the veto on Alyssa instead,
And I
or
bet
not
they're
use the veto
full
at
of
all,
rare
and to try to get
materials.
Kyland out of the game. This is when all of the nonsense happened, where Kyland was like, you know,
Oh, can you just
promising Kyland
hold?
the vetoes used on Alyssa, that he would still
Huh,
be
you can
100%
just
safe. And I
hold
was
the
like,
attack
well,
button. I didn't realize that.
You know, I was also 100% sure that I wasn't going to be on the block, so thanks to that.
Don't snap at me like that. It's a legitimate comment. Like, it's the fact that Frenchie is so upset that he said that, when it's like, no, but it's true. Like, you did promise him that he, like, you did tell him in the beginning that he was safe and he wasn't going to go on the block, and then all of a sudden he was on the block. Like, it's legitimate concern that, like, well, I don't know if I can trust that when you're telling me I'm 100% safe, but you told me I was 100% not going to go on the block, and now I am on the block. Like,
You sure
the fact
do
that
like
Frenchie gets so
complain,
upset
Vice.
about it.
How dare you speak?
Alright, there we go. Live feed updates started.
And what his plans are for
Welcome to our live feed update for July 14th.
Alright, there we
I'm
go.
your host, Ern Armstrong, and with me today is Chantel. How you doing, Chantel?
Tired once again. These house guests do not want us to sleep in this first week of feeds. No sleep, but I'm happy here to talk about all of it with you.
It's insane. It hasn't even been a
Yes,
fucking week yet.
Oh boy, these people. It's been a rough ride so far. Fun ride,
Yes.
but a bit rough here. We are here, of course, to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 23 live feeds. It was day 7 in the house. 1 week in here.
Not day 70?
Yeah, right? Where even are we? There's some stuff to talk about. Not too much is progressing in terms of this week, but we do have some movement in terms of where things are headed next week, similar to yesterday. We may see more happen with the campaigning and the votes today, aka Wednesday, day 8, but that's for tomorrow. So, let's talk about what happened yesterday. There were a couple of main events, one of which involved Frenchie and the women, and an alliance name that shall not be named. But before that happened, we also had Sarah Beth talking to Alyssa. Sarah Beth is still on the I want to target Derek X train. He said my name. That's a reason to target him. She's telling this to Alyssa. She still wants to target Derek X. She feels like Derek X is the biggest threat to her game, and she wants to target him.
It's pretty rough in here.
Does she know yet if, like, that's kind of who he still wants to target? Because, like, you know, had she talked to him about who he's voting for and what his plans are for the next few weeks, and maybe she can come together with him? Because he's so on his own. Like, he has nobody. He's going to be voting out his best friend. Like, I just don't see him as a threat at all. And I was going to be giving some props to Sarah's gameplay, like, later on in the day.
Oh, wrong
so
button.
I'm just confused as to why she's not seeing the situation a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, I was really hoping that, you know, after a good night's sleep, she would think about it and go, you know what, I was just told about a majority alliance started by the first HOH that does not include me. Maybe I should not target their target, but apparently not. Again, though, she's talking to Alyssa here, so maybe she's lying. She's not lying. She's going to tell others. All right. Claire is going to talk with Tiffany. They are the duo of the hour here, and they talk about not wanting to vote with the House for the sake of it. That's not what they're about. And Tiffany mentions that Travis should be able to get at least 3 votes, and maybe it's worth considering looking at the option. And she does not want to get in trouble for staging a campaign against Alyssa or voting against Alyssa. She doesn't want Alyssa to have a reason to go after her if she wins HOH next week. But maybe this is something that they should look at.
I mean, I really want this to happen. I know it most likely won't, but I'm just kind of like, I don't like everybody going along with the House. I want people to take their games into their own hands, and these are the times where you can really have a split vote, and it's it'll be really exciting for us anyways. I understand though with Tiffany not wanting to stand out and have Alyssa have a reason to target her, so I get why he's probably not going to go through. But I just wish that Travis was just a little bit more of a game player and realized that he could probably get the votes. If he's just hey, look at these showmances. Hey, I'm a guy. Let's not let's not get a guy out. We want to keep the guys strong because the women are going to have more numbers. Whatever the argument is for next week, use it for yourself right now, Travis, and then you might be able to get Tiffany on board and the rest of your team.
He's been very passive so far. We're going to kind of figure out why or find out why a little bit later, but it's okay. We'll find out. Claire and Tiffany discuss going after Brent next week. He is their target. He is who they think they should go after, and they are trying to figure out who they should put up next to him. They don't want to go after Derek X. They don't want Derek X to be on the block. They think that's pointless. And they are smart enough to realize that. And they discuss, Whitney as a potential option. Whitney seems very close with Brent, and so potentially putting Whitney up on the block as a pawn next to Brent might be the way to go. Tiffany doesn't want to piss Whitney off or anything. She does have a relationship with Whitney, but if it's got to be that way, it's got to be that way.
I'm down with this. I actually have both Whitney and Brent on one of my drafts, and I really want this to happen. Your draft is you're willing to make it tougher. Tiffany is my number 1 pick, though, so I do have Tiffany as well on one of my drafts. I wanted to like Whitney, but kind of the way that she wants to play the game is not really my style. We'll probably talk about it more, but later on in the evening, how she wants to target 2 women next week, and I was just like, what? Why? They're not coming for you. Why are you playing the boys' game? Take some agency, Whitney. But it seems as though her style is showmance and hanging with the guys.
Yeah. Tiffany is also going to talk with Derek. Derek is thinking about the situation that he was in, and that he used the veto on Kyland, and he is kind of coming to the conclusion that I think I made a mistake. I think I screwed up. I probably should not have used that veto. I put Travis in this position, and what I should have done is not use the veto and tried to save both of my allies, because then there was a much better chance that Alyssa would go home. But instead, I used the veto, trying to win favor with people, and I don't think it's going to be reciprocated. Frenchie told me that he's got 11 people that he was going to bring me in, but thinking about it, if he has those people, then I'm just going to be at the bottom for the rest of this game if things stay the same. So I'm not feeling very great. And Tiffany's like, that's what happens with the first HOH. They have a lot of power. And so you'd better fight and win this next one.
I really love, though, the relationship between Tiffany and Derek X. It's kind of he's blossoming into a good player because he's having these realizations and she's kind of guiding him along the way. Where was she, though, when he was thinking and considering using the veto? Because that would have been the perfect time for her to be
well, she wants Travis gone.
I think the problem is that she wanted him to use the veto because she wanted Kylan safe no matter what.
Gotcha.
She's Travis is no skin off of her back.
That makes sense. Okay. I'll forgive that moment then. But I really do like how she's kind of guiding him without seeming a little bit like, I know the game and you know nothing. Like she's not making him feel kind of insecure that way. And so I hope that he can still try to figure out how to get Travis these votes. I want Travis to stay at this point. I don't want any more support for Slaughterhouse. I don't want people to think that they're running things. I'm so anti-Slaughterhouse that like I'll take Travis and Alyssa can go.
Kyland is going to talk with Travis, and he's going to give Travis some advice for the campaign. He says that he should really emphasize the gender divide, that he's a guy, and the guys shouldn't want him to go because then the women will have a majority.
Yeah, so today we don't really have a set goal.
He needs to start campaigning.
Nothing in particular I want to get done. Like I already finished the Mass Effect script. So
I'm waiting until Wednesday night.
Really, I guess it's just watch Survivor
I feel like that's when it
finales.
will be most effective. That's why Travis has been doing basically nothing. Now, we saw him try this strategy, I guess, the night before the veto was used, where he went to Frenchie and he tried to, convince Frenchie. And he did for a little while, but it was not enough because Frenchie was not enough
they just go around in a
change
circle.
the outcome of what was going to happen. And my concern for Travis, if he is going to try to make something happen on a Wednesday night, is that he's planning on talking to Frenchie. Again, I don't know that Frenchie himself will be enough to make anything work here, and waiting so last minute, it certainly could work, but I think either Amon or Melissa said this last night, but he needs to be doing something, laying some kind of groundwork down for the action that he takes on Wednesday night, not just like hanging around doing nothing until Wednesday night.
100%. I mean, he can lay low. I totally understand that strategy as to like being the last people in their ears, and so when they go to the vote the next day, it's he's done the work. But I think with this house and at this time in the game, I think he should have maybe been working on Frenchie maybe this whole time and getting Frenchie to change his mind slowly, and then Frenchie every day can maybe start planting those seeds. So then at least when he's coming back to talk to these people, they might be already warmed up to the idea of flipping. I just don't see anybody that has been set for the last few days being like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're voting out, to all of a sudden be like, no, we're keeping Travis now. Like they kind of need to be groomed a little bit, and I don't think that he's considering that.
So Frenchie is going to, he has an idea. He wants to create an alliance with some of the women of the house. Allied to women Frenchie. He wants to align with the women. So he is going to gather some of the women and make an alliance with them. Azza, Claire, Tiffany, Sarah Beth, Hannah is the core of this, what he wants to do. They come around to calling this
kind of get the point.
Kisses. Thank you, Azza, I believe, for that. And they discuss adding potentially Brittany to the mix, maybe Big D. If they add Brittany, is she going to tell Whitney? They don't know if they want to tell Whitney. It's a whole thing. But this is like the most fake alliance we've seen all season.
Don't even worry about it.
Well, this is the thing, though. Even fake alliances have value. Like, Frenchie is going to use all these alliances that he's created in order to kind of guilt people to keeping him off the block. A lot of people are loyal, and a lot of people are up their word. And so, if he's even fake alliances with him, he can be like, well, we're in an alliance together. You said that you wouldn't put me up. So, I think it's all just to benefit Frenchie, and whether or not these women take it seriously or not, I don't think any of them are going to be targeting Frenchie, at least next week.
Yes. So after this forms, there's basically a bunch of like one-on-one conversations
So we're back
between
in
most
here?
of the women, where most of them say, "This is dumb. So we don't want this." We just said yes in the moment because we didn't want to say no to an alliance. But Brittany and Azza are going to talk. Azza tells Brittany about the alliance. They don't really get the point point of it. Brittany wants to make sure that Whitney is protected too. Sarah and Claire are going to talk about it. Sarah is still going on about Derek X and how he threw their names out there. He's the biggest threat to their alliance and jackpot, and Derek X needs to go. Claire, luckily, is kind of like,
Yona and I both know what it feels
there are
like
players
to
in this
miss
game that they're on their own. They're kind of just like desperate, looking for something, and I don't know if Derek X is somebody that we really need to worry about.
What the fuck?
But Sarah's, she's still on it. They talk about how they don't. We don't need Frenchie. We don't need a man to start a women's alliance for us. I don't know what that's about. And Sarah says, well, if he has a women's alliance, he probably also has a guys' alliance. And Claire's like, yeah, probably.
Yes, I like that at least from him creating this alliance, like they had the idea that maybe he's working some other plan. So hopefully they might follow those breadcrumbs and like figure out a little bit more what's going on the other side.
So this is, I guess, again, like Sarah trying to insinuate that, like, hey, Frenchie might be a part of something bigger. I would love to see her try a little harder. But, we are where we are.
Anyway, so Tiffany doesn't know about Slaughterhouse at all yet. I can't remember who was kind of some of the initial people that were talked about, like, 6 days ago.
I mean, everybody knows about the concept of Slaughterhouse except for like Travis and Derek. But the people who did not make a cut do not know that that there is a cut quite yet, except for Sarah Beth. So Oz is going to talk with Big D. She tells him about the French kisses thing. He says that he's like, oh well, that's no good. She's like, I don't think we need Frenchie in this. I think we can just work with the women. And he's like, no, you shouldn't work with the women. That would be bad. If you don't want to blow up your game, you should sit there quietly and not do anything.
I'm confused a little bit by Derek F's game plan because, like, why is he so into Frenchie? Like, doesn't he see what is going on at all? Like, he's in multiple alliances with Frenchie. I think that they have a final two. Frenchie's been completely, like, erratic, and his head of household was just insane. And why does he want to target the women? The women are nobody's targeting him. So I feel like the people that he's going after are definitely not targeting him. And why isn't he loyal to the cookout? Anyways, I'm just confused all over.
Yeah, he's a confusing player, and I still don't know exactly where he's going to land, but I definitely think that he could be the downfall of many people that trust him right now.
No, I'm scared.
And a lot of people trust him right now, so...
They're telling him too much. Too much.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Specifically, I'll just skip right to this one. Tiffany is going to talk with Big D, and she is going to advocate for Derek X in this conversation. He's not worth going after, all of that stuff. And she's also going to confide in him sort of some of her feelings on Frenchie, saying that he's like Devin and that they should call him Fry.
I love that, though.
Which is hilarious. And that she'd love to go after Brent. And so there's a lot of information to be dumping on Big D, who has a lot of different loyalties. And I'm a little bit concerned for Tiffany with this information out there. She's been pushing hard against Brent with a lot of people, and it hasn't gotten out yet. But this Big D, it's a leaky faucet here.
I saw that conversation, and she's kind of like just like, just mumbling it under breath, like kind of quietly. So I'm like, I was just hoping that it wasn't something so important, because if this gets back to Brent, it would just be typical that Brent would win the head of household and put her out. Like, it just would be what would happen, and then our favorite player would be in danger, and we'd be really pissed, and the whole season would just fall apart. So I'm just hoping that Derek just understands a little bit about the value of information and keeping it to himself, and just not let that one slip. But I'm worried. That's the biggest one I'm worried about.
Tiffany is also going to talk with Sarah. Sarah is again going to talk about Derek X, and Tiffany is also going to be like, I don't think that that's a good idea. I don't think that we should be targeting Derek X. That doesn't seem very smart. Hey, Brent is a much bigger threat. Maybe we should be looking at Brent. And so Tiffany doing some work on Sarah, which may end up being necessary. We'll see. They also talk about the alliance and how it's kind of dumb, and Tiffany says that Frenchie's like that.
Yeah, that I love too. I mean, this last night's feeds or yesterday's feeds was a lot about Tiffany, especially when they're getting ready for the toga party and all that stuff. There's like a lot that we can, she was talking to people about. And there's this one moment where she was talking about like Dan Giesling might have seen her on the feeds and she like starts tearing up and crying. Like the fact that she is even more of a fan than she was letting on to know that the reference of like, erratic players in the beginning and their crazy other household rooms, like just made me endeared more to her, and I love it to me.
So there's then going to be like a big party-ish thing going on, like big group stuff happening. There's they dress up in togas, and this is what leads toward something that sort of took the internet by storm last night, which is that there's a clip of Brent, again with his hand in a place where your hands shouldn't usually be. Now, there's a lot of controversy over this because when the initial sort of like thing went around, it was, I think you'd probably say probably intentionally edited in a way to imply and described in a way that implied it was, I guess, theoretically worse than the reality could have been. That the clip went around saying that, it was just the action itself, cutting out the potential context, and it was described in a way that was like, hey, look at him grope Hannah, without consent. Having watched it myself many times now, I'm still a little bit unsure here. What seems to have happened is that there was an extended version of the clip that was really, people went back and they watched it. Now, the context for this is that Brent did help create Hannah's dress, or toga, I should say. And what happened is that in the kitchen, she was standing there, she was complimenting his designing skills, best designer in the house, and she was showing off the dress, or the toga, and
possibly believe their mother managed to fight her way down here.
He reaches down, does something, and afterwards she high fives him, and is still like complimenting the toga creation, right?
She's alive.
So some people have come to believe now that the original thing being out of context was, a sort of slanderous attack, which to some degree probably was. Again, it left out a lot of context, and that a lot of people are saying that they feel like Hannah was asking him to fix something or asking him to check something, and that's why he reached his hand down there. Having watched it myself a lot of times, I cannot personally find a moment where she's asking him to do something. What I see is that she's showing it off, and that he is perhaps also showing it off in the way that he is. But she clearly does not mind. I think, or at least that appears to be the case. I do want to make sure that it said that just because she high-fives him afterwards does not mean that she was okay with it, and unless she explicitly asked him to reach down there, I would reiterate what I said last night, which is that regardless of context, if you are not asked to or you did not ask to, then you should not ever do it. Even if she found it okay, that does not mean that everyone would find it okay, and there should be no guesswork in this sort of thing. At the end of the day, those are the events. I will say again,
we'll end here.
Many people, probably the majority of people that I've
Next
seen,
episode continue on.
that she asked him
For now,
to reach down
thank
there.
you for watching.
I cannot personally confirm that